Good morning, back in the garden. I'm going to try and get some of these timbers in around the garden up here and bury the hose as the water pipe comes down from those orange tanks up there on the right, and I want to mount that so it's a bit more accessible than it used to be. So that's what I'm up to today. Well, this video is a bit different because of the weather. It's been raining or showering every day for the last 6 days. So we did indoor things that are still off-grid and part of the lifestyle, but perhaps a little less mainstream. Anyway, I hope you enjoy our rainy weather jobs. First thing I've got to do is get the edges that are already there straightened up and in line again. So both of these two have tipped in towards each other at the top, so I've got to take a chunk along the top so I can stand it up again. I'm using steel pegs to hold the garden up. These are fence posts, steel fence posts. I cut them in half, get 2 out of each one. It was apparent we were rapidly running out of garden with Barbara planting right there behind me. So I had to stop what I was doing to catch up a bit. And this used to be a strawberry garden, but it's time it got repurposed, and it's getting a complete makeover as well. This is the pipe I was talking about. It goes from the water tanks down here past the tree, under the drive, under the fence, across to the timber, down the side of the timber, and comes up onto a sloping piece of timber to where there's a tap that you can plug the hose into, and you can turn it off and on without having to bend over. How's that? And as it turned out, not very helpful, because that night it rained. And it rained right through into the next morning. A bit of a backstory for what we're going to be doing today. We've just travelled back in time, believe it or not, to when we'd just lost the bees and Barbara made the honey mead.
A little bit green yet.
Now we've travelled forward in time about a month, and the possums have found the lemon tree.
Right, so this is what possums do to lemons. They eat the skins. And they wreck the trees. So I'm just going to pick the last of the lemons on these trees.
The idea here is to pick all the citrus so the possums don't have a reason to come here. So we're also going to strip the orchard of anything that we can get off it.
I can't do anything about the lemonades, they're just too green. Hi, as you can see, the possums have been getting in here and eating the fruit. So we've got to harvest all the fruit before the possums eat it all.
This is a ruby grapefruit, and this is only the second year that we've got crop off this, so looking forward to trying it in the marmalade.
Oh, they've even been up this way. Can you see that? They've even broken the branch on this one. Rotten little buggers.
And this is a normal, ordinary, everyday garden variety grapefruit. And this is a census orange. And that's a mandarin. Well, this morning we're making marmalade. Too wet to be outside, all that fruit we stripped off the trees, got to do something with it, so it's marmalade time. And the first step to making marmalade is cleaning the wood stove, because we're going to be cooking on the wood stove today. Step number one, cover the floor with something. This is a cut down dog food bag. They're really good, doesn't let any dust through it, and you just wrap it up at the end. Yeah, in here, under this bit and this bit, is the oven. Now the fire chimney, the heat goes across, and that thing there, that's the thing that lets the smoke go from there straight up the chimney. This is the oven control. Pulling it out opens up a hole into the chimney, and the smoke goes straight across and up the chimney. Push it in and the smoke goes across the top and down the side. This is where it starts to get all blocked up with soot very quickly. About once a fortnight we need to clean this when we're using it all the time. Now you can see the soot down there, and my very technical saw guide screwed to a piece of steel bar works extremely well, because you've got a little hole down there and that's where the smoke goes down, and that heats up that side of the oven. And you just get in there and scrape all the soot off and it falls down to the bottom. And then on the front, under the step, there's another little hole. And in there is where all the soot's ended up. Now you can try putting it in a box, but it's not very successful. And if I'd realised this was an issue, I probably would have designed things a little bit different when I made the place, but we didn't know then, and this is pretty much the only way you can get the stuff out of there, because that's a lot. That's only 2 weeks, and that really slows the fire down, and it smokes because it's full of that ash. So it needs to be kept clean. Oh, with everything organised, we could start making some marmalade. 8 grapefruit, 2 of which are ruby grapefruit, 2 lemons, 2 lemonades, and 4 oranges. Big pot, big bag of sugar, 2.8 kilos, knife, board, and juicing. Now this little bag here, the muslin bag, is for the pips, because the pips have to soak and boil, and they produce the pectin, which makes everything work. Oh, Mead. This one's ruby. And next up is the juicing. Should get between 1 or 2 litres of juice out of that. Here's a bit I just threw away. And after juicing comes pulping, because the next thing you're after is the skins. So you pulp them and then you chop the skins up into little tiny bits. And 5 litres of water, 500 mils of time for me. What it will look like. Bag of pips tied on the side. And add the sugar, 2.8 kilos of it. .8 kilos of sugar. Let's have pips in the bag. Any pips you can find. And that now, have it given a decent sort of a stir. Now that will now sit for 12 to 24 hours, so sometime tomorrow we'll get the wood stove going and bake her up. See you tomorrow. Good morning, and we lit the stove when we first got up this morning. It's raining again, surprise surprise, and here we are. The marmalade is now on the stove and we're just going to heat it as hard as we can. And this is what all those little short pieces of timber were for that I cut the other day up in the orchard. Been boiling for just over 2 hours. We're just on 102 degrees. So we're going to put it on the gas now and bring it up over 104. It's possible to test to see whether it's ready or not just by taking a teaspoon and putting it on a plate, letting it cool. It should start setting within a minute or so. I reckon, Lily. These jars have already been sterilised and they've been kept in warm water, so when you put that hot marmalade in there, if the glass is cold it will break. We've done it before. Learnt the lesson, preheat the jars. So there you go, finished product. We ended up with 8.5 litres of marmalade out of that little bit of fruit. Well worth doing.
It's been 6 weeks since we put the honey mead into the barrel. Now we're going to rack it off, which just means we siphon it off and leave the sediment in the bottom of the barrel. Siphon it off into the demijohns. Now you don't need demijohns if you want to make wine for the first time ever and you don't want to buy all the equipment. Just find somebody who drinks flagons and get a little bit of cloth with a cotton bud and put over the top. And the only reason you do that is so that the gas from the wine goes out and nothing can go in. Wine is not an exacting science. The most important things are hygiene and sugar. Wine yeast is very fragile. It doesn't like a lot of sugar, so thinking you're going to make a really alcoholic wine will just kill your yeast and make a putrid, horrible substance. So be very careful, follow the recipes with sugar and wine yeast. Now this is a very simple procedure. I've already sterilised all of this. And because the tap's higher than the bottom, the sediment will stay on the bottom. And we just tip it into the... So nice. It looks absolutely beautiful. There we go. I hope we get better germination than that. That's glass gem.
I hope you enjoyed our video. Like and subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment.